This is the top 10 zombies maps of all time. If you don't agree with me, that's okay. I'm going to be basing this video off of gameplay, Easter egg, storyline, everything that accounts into making a good zombies map. I love this topic. I love zombies. I can't believe that it hasn't been how it used to be for the last couple of years, but nonetheless, we can still talk about the older maps, the older games. Here's my top 10. I hope you guys enjoy. Starting out our list at number 10, I have Darice or the Giant. I'm counting them as the same map for obvious reasons. But you know what? Every time I was looking for just a quick, fun game of zombies, I always found myself on Darice or the Giant. And on top of that, we can't forget everything it did for the series as a whole, obviously with innovation towards the Pack-a-Punch, and then obviously getting to know our characters that became a major part of the next 3 games. I have Darice at number 10. You guys might not agree with that, but for everything it did for the series, we cannot deny that it is a top 10 map of all time. So at the number 9 spot, I have Moon. And although there's many annoying things about Moon, we cannot deny how much it did for the series. Kind of like the same reason I picked Darice at number 10. The innovations towards the storyline and obviously having our first massive Easter egg. Moon did so much for the series, and on top of that, the gameplay was, for the most part, pretty fun. The Wonder Weapon was extremely enjoyable. I think the Wave Gun is one of the top 10 Wonder Weapons of all time. Obviously, the characters were, at this point, extremely lovable, and we started to know a lot more about the storyline and their purpose towards what they meant to zombies and the storyline. And I think it's time to realize that although there is annoying things such as the astronaut, Moon is a top 10 zombies map of all time. And I have it at number 9. Coming in at the number 8 spot, I have Buried. I know what you guys are all thinking. Buried's too easy, though. And yes, while Buried is easier than most maps, I feel like it is definitely deserving of a top 10 spot. You know what? The Wonder Weapons were very cool. Obviously, we saw the Ray Gun Mark II, which was then put in all the Black Ops 2 Zombies map. And then the Paralyzer, which was not only a solid Wonder Weapon, but also had the unique quirk of being able to fly yourself around the map and over barricades onto the roofs and that type of stuff. And on top of that, bringing in Vulture Raid, which was the new perk of Buried, which is one of the coolest perks of all time. All the buildables that were extremely fun and helped you with your high rounds. The bank, which sometimes made it easy. Just set up, go for the high rounds. And you know what? Although it was very easy, Buried with its setting and the super Easter egg is a top 10 zombies map of all time, in my opinion. And I have it here at number 8. Coming in at number 7, I have 5. Listen. It's time to realize that 5 is a top 10 zombies map of all time. A little cool fact for you guys, actually. 5 was supposed to be the sole launch map for Black Ops 1. However, Kino der Toten was supposed to be DLC 4 for World at War, but due to it coming too close to the release date of MW2 back in the day, they pushed it to Black Ops 1. That's just a cool fact for you. Anyway, 5 has one of the most underrated set of characters of all time. I mean, come on. John F. Kennedy, Richard Nixon, Robert McNamara, and Fidel Castro in a zombies map. That's awesome. I love history. To me, that is awesome. Anyways, also on top of that, the level of difficulty in 5, how hard the map was compared to other maps, and especially moving forward throughout the games, 5 is one of the hardest maps of all time, especially in terms of going for the high rounds. And I feel like there is a lot of replayability in that. 5 is an extremely fun map, extremely unique, and the scientist boss zombie keeps you on your toes at all times. 5 is a top 10 zombies map of all time. It's time to realize that you forgot to tell him that the Wonder Weapon on 5 is complete dog shit. Coming in at the number 6 spot, I have Call of the Dead. And I know, this might be a little bit of a biased pick. I know not everyone is going to agree with me on this. But Call of the Dead, in my opinion, is one of the most underrated maps ever. The character set we had at Plus with George Romero, that is so cool, if you guys know who he was. And on top of that, the gameplay was so fun. The only thing that sucked is when you got the mystery box on the back of the boat or on the top of the lighthouse. I hated those 2 box spawns. And going for Jug. Please don't remind me of going for Jug. But you know what? The sickle, the scavenger was fun, although not that effective. The VR11 was dog shit. But you know what? I have my reasons. Call of the Dead is a top 10 zombies map. Okay, so now we got the top 5, the real big boys of the zombies community. Coming in at number 5, I have Shadows of Evil. I have to say it. Shadows is a top 5 zombies map. You know what? If you would have asked me back in Black Ops 3's life cycle, if Shadows of Evil was a top 5 zombies map of all time, I would have laughed at you. Because you know what? Throughout Black Ops 3, everyone was burnt out on Shadows. Because for the first 3 to 4 months of the game, all we had was Shadows and Giant. And you know what? A lot of people were burnt out on Shadows. But looking back, Shadows of Evil is a GOAT map. A GOAT map. The best wonder weapon of all time was introduced. The storyline for BO3, which arguably has the best storyline of every Treyarch Zombies game. Black Ops 3 is my personal favorite game. And the Gobblegums, the level system, the layout of Shadows of Evil, the Beast mode, the first ever technical boss fight, the swords as a special weapon. Shadows of Evil is an amazing map. The colors were beautiful. The only thing, I know it's a little bit biased, that holds me back on Shadows is I've always been a solo player. I play sometimes with one buddy or so. I'm not really ever playing 4 players. And obviously without 4 players, you can't go through the full Easter egg. Although you can get through most of it. I'm going to have Shadows of Evil at number 5. I love Shadows. I love BO3. And I feel like it's deserving of being top 5. And at our number 4 spot, I have Mob of the Dead. Mob of the Dead is one of the most unique zombies maps of all time. The setting was amazing. The characters and the story, if you actually take a second to listen to the dialogue while you're playing, especially through the Easter egg of some of the characters, especially Weasel, amazing. Honestly, Mob of the Dead is a near perfect map. And one of the biggest things is the next 6 to 8 maps after Mob of the Dead, from Mob of the Dead to the end of Black Ops 3, is probably the peak of zombies. Excluding the nostalgia from World at War and Black Ops 1, from Mob of the Dead to the end of BO3 is peak zombies. The best storyline, the best wonder weapons. Everything we've ever seen came in between that window, and Mob started it all. Obviously with Jason Blundell, who starred in producing Mob of the Dead and working towards that, and then he did all of Black Ops 3. Mob of the Dead is an amazing map. I've never seen a list without Mob of the Dead in the top 5, and I'm not going to change that. Mob of the Dead at number 4. And at number 3, I have Gorkov. I know some of you guys might not agree with this. Personally, Gorkov is one of my favorite maps ever. I remember sitting there watching video after video after stream because I played on Xbox and I had to sit there for a month watching all the PlayStation players play it and YouTubers play it before I could. Gorkov is an amazing map. Gorkov is a top 3 map of all time in my opinion. The Easter egg was the most challenging one we've ever seen, but so amazing. The Easter egg, every time I've ever done it, was so fun to do, and in my opinion, it has the best boss fight of all time. Nikolai and the dragon, the theme, the setting, the dragon's war-torn stalling. One of the best settings we've ever seen. And although the Mark III wasn't the most effective wonder weapon ever, by far, might not even be top 10, it's one of the coolest wonder weapons to ever use, in my opinion. And obviously, just like it got a lot of YouTubers, the PPSH returning at that time, it was enough for me. I love the PPSH. It's one of the most fun guns to use in zombies. And compared to some of the other maps, Gorkov is a challenging round 100 compared to the other maps in Black Ops 3. Which, I mean, I'm sure you guys, if any of you know any zombies YouTubers, I'm sure you see how many times Mr. T-Lexify died on round 71 back in the day. That's one of my favorite core memories about this map. But you know what? The best shield ever, the special weapon, the baby dragon, the gauntlet of Siegfried. Gorkov is a top 3 map of all time, and you cannot change my mind. At number 2, it pains me to say, it's so hard to put this here, but I have Origins. Had you have asked me a couple years ago, I would have told you, laughed in your face and told you Origins is number 1. Origins will never be beaten. Origins will forever be number 1. You know what? Origins is one of the most amazing maps ever. It's here at number 2. The staffs were amazing. They were fun. They were unique at the time. The staffs were one of the coolest sets of wonder weapons we've ever seen. And on top of that, the Easter egg being one of the most replayable Easter eggs ever. I know a lot of people would agree with me on that. The setting, obviously, again, like I said, I loved history. World War I, an alternate timeline. And then just on top of that, the gameplay the Panzer Soldat was a tough but fun boss to go against. Origins will forever have a soft spot in my heart. I have it here at number 2. And here it is, coming in at number 1, Kino der Toten, Black Ops 1. Absolutely not. Fuck no. I just had to do that because, just in case Lex was watching, I just had to. I'm sorry. All right, for real, coming in at number 1, Der Eisendrache. Der Eisendrache for me is the best zombies map of all time. For me, I feel like it is the most replayable. The Easter egg is fantastic. I could still to this day go hop on and play the Der Eisendrache Easter egg. It's got a top 2 boss fight of all time. The bows are some of, if not the coolest wonder weapons we've ever seen. And on top of that, they are genuinely good. The Storm Bow is arguably a top 2, top 3 wonder weapon of all time. The bows are like a cooler, in my opinion, aesthetically better looking version of the staffs. The steps are more enjoyable, a little bit easier to remember. The rocket shield, the DGs, the entire setting of the map, I will never forget the first time I played Der Eisendrache. For me, DE has taken over Origins. DE will always, always, always have a soft spot in my heart. I'll never forget the first time I played Der Eisendrache with my buddy. I will never forget it. Der Eisendrache tops off the list for me. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you guys think about the top 10. If you want to criticize the shit out of me, go ahead. But either way, I appreciate if any of you stuck through the video this long. Don't forget to subscribe.